So if you're looking to use Dream for All to buy a higher priced home, it's critical that you understand there's a lot of moving parts, and I want to educate you on those pieces. So specifically, the things that I'm going to talk to you about today is I'm going to talk to you about the loan amount and whether the loan amount exceeds the conventional loan limit of $766,550. I'm also going to talk to you about loan to value, and whether you're over 80% loan to value or not will determine whether you have to pay mortgage insurance. And we're going to talk about how you can put a little bit of your own money in there. But we're also going to talk about if you go over the $766,550 loan amount, then you have to pay a high balance fee that CalHFA charges. And what's that going to cost you? That's all of what I'm going to educate you on today. So first of all, the numbers I'm talking about are hypothetical because these numbers are all the interest rates and the high balance fee are based on where the market is at the time. Your mortgage, at the time you lock, your mortgage insurance, if you're over 80% loan to value, you can pay one of two ways. You can pay a monthly fee or you can pay a one-time fee. Now, last year, for all the people I did Dream for All that didn't put 20%, didn't want to put money out of pocket, we did 15% for down payment and 5% for closing costs, which included the upfront mortgage insurance one-time fee. That fee ranges, and so that's a ballpark high estimate of what you're looking at in closing costs, including the mortgage insurance fee. But let's dive in and look at my screen and kind of show you how this works. First of all, the first example I have here is actually a $500,000 loan amount, which is very straightforward. CalHFA will provide you up to 20% of the purchase price or $150,000, whichever's less. So you buy a $500,000 home and your loan amount is $400,000 after paying for the $100,000, after getting the $100,000 from CalHFA. Now you can say, John, I want to put 5% of my own money down. That's great. Then your loan amount's $375,000. Or you can say, you know what? Nah, I don't want to put any of my own money down. As a matter of fact, I want you to finance in the closing costs. And so now I'm loaning you 85% of the purchase price instead of 80. And now you have that upfront mortgage insurance. So this is how the numbers move around. Now, this is really easy all the way up to $750,000 home. Why? Because once you buy at a $750,000 price, you've hit the cap of the assistance and you cannot get more than that. So you're now still borrowing 80% of the purchase price, which means you don't have mortgage insurance. Now, if you then bump that and say, you know what, I want to buy an $800,000 home. An $800,000 home with the $150,000 from the state means that you are borrowing 81.25% of the purchase price. Now, why does that matter? Because now you're paying mortgage insurance. That mortgage insurance one-time fee is between 0.5% and 1% of your loan amount. Why would you want to pay 0.5% to 1% as a fee when you can just add an extra 1.25% to your down payment? So now you're putting a little bit more down and you don't have to pay for mortgage insurance. So it's critical that we talk about that and understand where the sweet spot is. And it's going to depend on what the house price is that you get under contract this summer after your voucher is accepted. Okay. The key to all of this is educating you on the things you have to be aware of. If you chose to work with a different lender other than me, I wish you luck. I'm only partially kidding. But here's the deal. I understand how all of these moving parts work and most lenders don't. And so they're going to not give you the right advice and they're not going to guide you as well as I am. Now, the interest rate you pay is based on what CalHFA's rate is the day you lock. Every lender is going to have exactly the same interest rate. So you have a choice. You can say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go with the lender that I happen to get pre-approved with, or you still have time before you submit your voucher request into the reservation portal to talk to me. And I can always give you another reservation or another pre-approval, and you can turn in my pre-approval to CalHFA. Now, I don't know once you get your reservation if you're allowed to switch lenders or not. I do know that once you lock your rate, you are not allowed to change lenders with CalHFA. I don't know if they're going to require you to use the lender that you got your pre-approval with or not. That hasn't really been discussed. But you still have time before you submit your reservation to work with somebody like me who's an expert in understanding these numbers. And let me keep going further on how these numbers are going to impact you. So now let's pretend you're buying an $850,000 home. And you say, okay, John, so how does that change things? Well, first of all, if you are putting no money out of your pocket, you're financing 82.35%. So you say, you know what, that's fine, I can do that. And technically, you can even finance in your closing costs. And you can put that in there so that you're now borrowing $742,000. But now the mortgage insurance is even more expensive because mortgage insurance is in tiers. And so there's a mortgage insurance fee that covers from 80.1% to 85%. And then there's a higher fee when you're at 85.01%. I should have put 01 on the first one, percent to 90%. So therefore, you're in another bracket of higher or more expensive mortgage insurance. So we would say, well, then let's not finance in all of the closing costs. Let's come up with some of the closing costs out of your pocket and some of them financed in so that we're under 85. Because once we get over 85, the mortgage insurance becomes even more expensive. So again, there's buckets, there's tiers of how we have to think about this. So now we say, all right, John, so now I'm looking at buying a home at $900,000. All right, so at $900,000 home, you're looking at a loan amount of $750, which is still under the $763,500 limit. Now you can say, yeah, but I want to put that extra money down. So I'm going to put 5% out of my own pocket. Now you don't have mortgage insurance. But if you're not putting that extra money out of your pocket, and as a matter of fact, if you're saying, you know what, John, I want to buy a $900,000 home with no money out of pocket. So you're wanting to have 5% of your closing costs paid for. You actually trigger the high balance. Now you can only do this if you're in a county that allows for high balance loans. Those are typically the coastal counties from Marin County all the way down to San Diego. I believe Monterey, actually I'm not positive, but I believe Monterey Peninsula and that area is all high balance as well. But I'm positive the San Francisco Bay, Marin County, all the way down to Santa Cruz is high balance. And then I'm positive that the LA County, Orange County, and San Diego County are high balance. I don't recall off the top of my head about the Central Coast and whether it's high balance. I know the North Coast is not high balance. But if you're high balance, great. You can do this. In the Bay Area, you can go over $1 million on a loan amount. But here's the problem. CalHFA charges you an extra fee, and that fee is dependent on the day you lock. And so I've got another video that I did about interest rates and how they work. So check that one out. But this is CalHFA's page, and they look today. The rate is 6.625. But right over here, you see high balance loan limit fee of 1.312%. That changes every single day. As a matter of fact, you can go into historical rates and we can see what their high balance was. So back on January 12th, that high balance was 1.109. But today, that high balance fee is 1.312. So it varies every single day. I'm going to call it 1.25% just for a number. Okay. So if the high balance fee is 1.25%, that's an extra $10,000 in fee that you are paying because you're over 790 or 766,000. So maybe we need to look at not including your closing costs, or maybe including only 2% or 1.75% in for your closing costs. But that puts us now over 85%. And we don't want to do that because now you're paying higher mortgage insurance. And so maybe we're going to put 1.68%. Nope, 1.67%. And now I'm at 85% loan to value, and I'm under the 766,000 so that you don't have to pay the high balance fee. You see how all these numbers work together? You absolutely have to have a lender that understands how the numbers work, and I'm that lender. Now, let's continue to go down this road. Let's continue to say, what if you bought a home at 950? So anything over 900, we start really getting into the territory. If you're at 900 and you want to finance in your closing costs, you're going to trigger high balance. If you're at 950 and you are looking at putting none of your own down payments, you're high balance. So you're going to have the 1.25% high balance fee. That's $10,000 you're going to spend. But if you put your own 5% towards your down payment, we're good. Okay. So by the way, if you don't put your own down payment, You've got the high balance fee, and you have to pay for the mortgage insurance fees. But if you put your own 5% down when you're at $950,000 purchase price, you're now under 80% loan to value, and you're under the conventional limit. Therefore, we don't have to pay the high balance fee. But once you start getting above this, we start getting to $1 million. And you're looking at, if you did five. So first of all, if you're at $1 million and you're putting none of your own money down, you're borrowing 85% of the purchase price, and you are way over the conventional limit. Therefore, you are paying the high balance fee of 1.25%. Now, I can finance in the closing costs. As a matter of fact, in this case, it would probably be around 6.25% in closing costs because we are adding in the high balance fee. So I can finance that in there, but now we're in an even higher bracket of loan to value. So now you're in the 90.01% to 95% loan to value for the purpose of mortgage insurance. This is even more expensive in mortgage insurance. So we don't want to do that. So you could finance maybe 5% of your closing costs and pay this extra 11 grand out of pocket. But I got to tell you, gang, to buy $1 million home with only $11,250 out of pocket, and again, this fee changes every day, that's a pretty darn tootin' good deal. So there are lots of benefits to this, but just be aware that if you're buying that $1 million home, and you, even when you put your own 5% down, good news, you don't have mortgage insurance, but the bad news is you're still over the $766,000, and CalHFA won't let you put more than 5% down. So on a $1 million home, you have no choice but to pay this extra high balance fee. Now, it's still a great deal getting the money from Dream for All, but it comes at a cost. And so the higher the price of the home, the more these costs start adding up a little bit. And so I want you to be fully aware of what you're getting into, and I want to help navigate these waters for you. It's still going to be a way better payment, a way better down payment, a way better amount of cash you need to buy a home than any other program that's out there. So it's still worth it, but it is definitely more expensive at the high end of the price range compared to where it is at the low end of the price range. And I want to make sure you fully understand those things so that when you sit down with me or you sit down with another lender, ask these questions. Let's talk about this. The numbers will change between now and after you get your reservation and after you get your voucher. And then once you're in contract, that's when we'll finalize these numbers. But now is when you should be getting educated and understanding how all of this works. And it's my responsibility, it's really my role to educate you at the same time that I'm interviewing for the job of being your lender. So if you like what you see, you want me to be your lender, let's get the process started. You can schedule an appointment with me. There will be a link down below or probably a QR code up above or both. Once you get in there, you can schedule an appointment with me on my calendar. If you're ready to go, you can just start the application process and jump in and fill in the information and get a jump start on the process and allow me to help guide you through this process and make sure that you're getting the right advice at the right time. Thanks for listening. Hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.